The smile. At exactly 8:17 that night, my wife looked at me and said something I never expected to hear. "My ex is coming." I put my phone down. "Why?" She adjusted her dress in the mirror. "Because he wants to talk." I stared at her reflection, then she turned around and gave me an order. "When he arrives, smile." I almost laughed. "Smile?" "Yes, don't argue, don't ask questions, just smile." I watched her for a few seconds. Then I said, "Okay." What she didn't know was that I had already seen the message her ex sent me that afternoon. It said, "You have no idea what your wife has been hiding from you." I hadn't replied. I wanted to hear the truth from him myself. 20 minutes later, the doorbell rang. My wife froze. Then she looked at me. "Remember what I said?" I smiled. She opened the door. Her ex, Ryan, stood outside holding a small black envelope. He looked at me, then at my wife. And for a second, nobody spoke. I smiled exactly like she had asked. Ryan stepped inside. "Daniel," he said quietly, "nice to finally meet you." My wife immediately interrupted. "Let's sit down." We moved to the dining table. Ryan placed the envelope in front of me. My wife reached for it, but I put my hand over it first. She looked at me. "That's not for you." Ryan looked surprised. Then he said, "No, it is." My wife went completely still. I looked at Ryan. "What is inside?" He didn't answer. Instead, he looked at my wife and asked, "Did you tell him?" She shook her head. "Tell me what?" My wife's face changed. She wasn't angry anymore. She looked scared. Ryan leaned closer. "Your wife asked me to come here tonight." I looked at her. "You invited him?" She swallowed. "Yes." "Why?" She didn't answer. Ryan finally opened the envelope. Inside was a photograph. I picked it up. It showed my wife standing outside a hotel. Beside her was Ryan, but the date on the photograph was 3 months after our wedding. My heart sank. I looked at my wife. She whispered, "Daniel, please let me explain." I placed the photograph on the table. Then I smiled again, not because I was okay, not because I forgave her, because suddenly I understood why she had wanted me to smile. She wasn't afraid that Ryan would expose her. She was afraid that I already knew. And then Ryan said the one thing that changed everything. "That's not even the worst photograph." The second photograph. Ryan reached into his jacket. My wife immediately stood up. "Ryan, don't." He looked at her. "You told me he deserved the truth." I changed my mind. That sentence told me more than the photograph ever could. I looked at Ryan. "Show me." He pulled out a second photograph and slid it across the table. This time, my wife wasn't outside a hotel. She was sitting inside a restaurant. Across from her was Ryan, and between them was a folder. I picked it up. My wife whispered, "Daniel, please." I opened the folder. Inside was a printed email. It was from my wife. "Once Daniel signs the papers, everything will be yours." I read it twice, then I looked at her. "What papers?" She couldn't answer. Ryan did. "Your wife planned to transfer the house." My stomach tightened. "To you?" Ryan shook his head. "No, to herself." My wife finally spoke. "It wasn't like that." "Then tell me what it was like." She stared at the table. "I was going to leave." "When?" "After tonight." I almost laughed. "After tonight?" She nodded. "You wanted me to smile while you were planning to leave me?" She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I didn't know how to tell you." Ryan suddenly stood. "You didn't want to tell him. You wanted him to look like the bad guy so you could leave without guilt." My wife turned toward him. "Stay out of this." Ryan looked at me. She asked me to take her back. Silence. I looked at my wife. "Is that true?" She didn't deny it. That hurt more than the photographs. For 3 years, I had believed our marriage was difficult because we were both tired, stressed, and growing apart. But apparently, she had already chosen someone else. I stood up. My wife grabbed my arm. "Where are you going?" I looked down at her hand. "Home. This is your home." I gently pulled my arm away. "No." I pointed at the folder. "Apparently, you already decided it wasn't." I walked toward the door. Then Ryan called after me. "Daniel." I stopped. He held up his phone. "There is one more thing you need to see." I turned around. Ryan looked at my wife. She had gone completely pale, and for the first time that night, she was terrified of what her ex was about to show me. What Ryan showed me I turned back toward Ryan. "What is it?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he unlocked his phone and placed it on the table. A video was already open. I pressed play. It was my wife. She was sitting in the same restaurant from the photograph, but this recording was different. She wasn't talking to Ryan. She was talking to someone on the phone. Her voice was barely audible. "Once Daniel leaves the house, I'll transfer everything." I paused the video. "Everything?" Ryan nodded. "The house, the savings account, and the shares your father left you." I looked at my wife. She started crying. "Daniel, I can explain." I shook my head. "Not yet." I looked at Ryan. Who was she talking to? Ryan's expression changed. That's the part I couldn't figure out. He replayed the final few seconds. This time I heard another voice through the phone. A man's voice. I recognized it immediately. My older brother, Michael. I stepped back. "No." Ryan nodded. "That's why I came here." My wife covered her face. I couldn't understand it. My brother had been the person I trusted most after my father died. He helped me run the family business. He was at our wedding. He had eaten at our table countless times. And now I was hearing his voice in a recording connected to my wife's plan. I looked at Sarah. Did Michael know? She finally looked up. "Yes." My chest tightened. "How long?" She whispered. "Almost a year." I felt like the room had disappeared around me. Ryan stood beside the table. She wasn't planning this alone. I looked at him. "Then why did you help her?" He hesitated. "Because I thought she was trying to escape Michael." "What?" Ryan took a breath. "Your wife contacted me months ago. She told me Michael was pressuring her to help him take control of your father's company." I looked at Sarah. "You could have told me." "I was scared." "You were scared enough to lie to me for a year." She started crying. "I thought if I told you, he'd destroy you." I looked at the two of them, then something suddenly clicked. The hotel photograph, the hidden documents, the transfer, Michael's voice. None of it made sense if Sarah simply wanted my money. She had opportunities to take everything, but she hadn't. Instead, she kept delaying the transfer. I looked at Ryan. Why didn't she ever sign the papers? Ryan stared at me. Because she couldn't. I looked at Sarah. She slowly nodded. I was waiting for proof. Proof of what? She reached into her purse, then she placed a small recording device on the table. I recorded Michael. She pressed play. Michael's voice filled the room. "Get Daniel out of the house. Once he's gone, I'll handle the rest." Then another voice answered. "Sarah. And if he finds out?" Michael laughed. "He won't. His wife will make sure of that." The recording ended. I stared at Sarah. She wasn't trying to steal my life. She had been trying to expose the person who was, but there was still one question. I looked at Ryan. Then why did she tell me her ex wanted her back? Ryan looked at Sarah. Sarah lowered her eyes. And finally, she told me the truth. Because I needed you to hate me enough to leave. The smile that ended everything, I stared at Sarah. You needed me to hate you? She nodded through her tears. Michael told me that if you suspected him, he'd destroy everything. So you decided to destroy our marriage first? I thought it was the only way to get you away from him. I looked at Ryan. And you knew? Not everything. Ryan pulled out his phone. I knew enough to help her collect the evidence. Then my phone rang. Michael, I answered. Daniel, where are you? I looked at Sarah. I'm home. There was a pause, then Michael said, Good. Your wife is probably telling you some ridiculous story. I smiled. He continued, Don't believe her. I pressed the recording button. Why? Because she betrayed you. I let him talk. For 5 minutes, he explained exactly what he thought had happened. He even admitted that he had prepared the transfer documents. He didn't realize that every word was being recorded. Then I asked one question. Michael, why did you need Sarah to make me leave the house? Silence, then he answered. Because once you're gone, everything becomes easier. That was enough. I ended the call. The next morning, the recordings went to the police and our lawyer. Michael's plan collapsed within days. The company was protected. The house stayed in my name. And Sarah, she stood in front of me one final time. I know I hurt you. You did. I know you may never trust me again. I looked at her. I don't know if I can. She nodded. Then she whispered, But I need you to know something. What? I never wanted Ryan. I wanted you to survive. For the first time that night, I understood why she'd asked me to smile. She wasn't trying to make me look foolish. She was trying to make Michael believe everything was going according to plan. I had smiled because I thought my marriage was ending. She had asked me to smile because she was trying to save my life. But saving a marriage and saving a person aren't always the same thing. We spent months rebuilding the trust we'd nearly destroyed. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy. But eventually, we chose each other again. And whenever Sarah remembers that night, she still tells me, "I thought that smile would end our marriage." I always answer the same way. It almost did. Then I smile. Because sometimes the person standing beside you isn't your enemy. Sometimes they're the only person fighting a battle you can't see. If this story kept you watching until the end, like the video and subscribe for more emotional family stories. Because the biggest betrayals aren't always what they first appear to be.